Hi, this is Attila, and this is Steel Division Normandy 44, and this is a battle group guide for the 3rd Armored. So I will explain to you here my choice of unit and hopefully the rationale for it. Alright, so let's get on with it. Recon tab. Recon, I'm using recon units with the Jeep 30. What's interesting about this specific unit versus another unit is that you have a small group of infantry here which can hide easy. And you also have a Jeep which can provide covering fire or secure your flank or whatever you want with it. And this is actually very useful uh, because you keep the transporting vehicle. So that's something I like. Well, if you take the scouts, you have a bigger recon unit, but you don't have the vehicle. So that's a choice here I'm doing. I rather have stealthy infantry in the back of the enemy line and see what's going on there than having more infantry and losing the vehicle here. So it's a bit of a choice. Then for B phase, additional scouts units. This time it brings M3 scouts, which has a machine gun that has good suppression capacity. I don't know, it might be a 50 cal or something, or maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, arm rifles. Here you have arm rifles which have anti-tank capacity. I think this is really important early on. They are not as effective as, let's say, arm LMG rifles for fighting infantry. But because they come with a half track, this is a pretty good unit. And I think since anyway you don't have much other choice in that first wave, it's good to have these, put them in building, put them in bushes near roads, and they will ambush the enemy tank effectively. I had a lot of success with these. Now, of course, if you're fighting infantry, you might have some problem because they're not as good because they don't have a machine gun. But the vehicle is really there for that, and since you're a tank division, it's very likely that you will have your tank suppressing the enemy as well. Then I bring arm leaders. What's interesting about this is that it boosts the experience of your troops. It's not particularly a great fighting unit of infantry, but the AFTRAC actually has a stronger caliber. So you might actually be able to kill some armored vehicle or AFTRAC or whatever comes your way. So that's useful. Then I bring some engineer, and these engineer have explosive for building, or you can throw that at close proximity at 100 meter. They're mostly useful because they are cheaper unit than, for example, actually not that cheaper, but it's like they're not that expensive, but they are a bit specialized for close quarter. Then I bring M1917 HMG. This is mainly your standard machine gun to suppress the enemy in town. So you put this for defensive purpose or to suppress the enemy as you progress forward. Then tank. Since this is a tank division, this is where the choice are important, especially when facing the German army. So Commander M5A1. This is a Stuart, which is a commander unit. Also, it has a lot of experience, so very useful. Also, it has 3 machine gun and a cannon, so perfect for supporting your advance early on. Now, if it's clear that if you meet a powerful enemy tank, it might be a good idea to hide them and wait for the enemy to come to them, where its AP power will be much better at closer range. Then I bring some additional M5A1. I guess with the combo with the Commander one, this is an effective unit, and I guess with the availability, you can put them into multiple plays to slow down the enemy, even later on in games. Um, then B phase, I bring a Commander Sherman, so Commander M4A1. So you get 2 of them. I think this is a really important unit because this will make all your tank or whatever infantry is around you much more effective, and you probably keep it behind your other tank because this is a boosting unit as opposed to a fighting unit. It only has 10 AP and 9 armor. While here, this is your main fighting force. M4A376W. I bring them with experience, important, and you have 13 armor piercing, 11 armor. So during B phase, that means that you probably outmatch most on armor piercing anti-tank gun, or you're at least even for phase A and potentially B. But still, this is not a super strong tank. It's mostly strong in terms of killing, and that's what you need, and that's what you need up to phase C. So I bring mostly that. I decided not to bring a jumbo because the jumbo, while they are very nice, uh, it's like they die a lot. So it's like when you reach point B, well, phase B and phase C, jumbo can be useful because they have a lot of front armor, but it's better to have something which can kill the enemy or at least suppress it much more effectively. So that's why I'm a bit more inclined to use this one. Okay, support. I'm bringing a Jeep with 50 cal, and this is a bit special probably, but this thing is not to be underestimated, especially at the beginning. This is a unit which is super fast, 100 kilometer on the road, and very early on with the 50 cal, you can actually kill a half track and well, suppress very effectively a lot of units, and as a result, you can actually end up capturing a lot of enemies just with these early on. And this is really something that you should look into. Because sometimes I literally captured an entire enemy column at the beginning with these. Also, early on, if you sneak around with them, they will hold the territory. So you could ultimately, if you sneak around and circle an enemy force, which can really pay off a lot. Then I bring an M20 command, and this is a complement to the Jeep, let's say, because both of them go rather fast. Then I bring an M8 Scott, which is good against infantry in building, or it can suppress the enemy anti-tank, but let's say it's not perfect for that. But you still have a range of 1 kilometer, so that's okay. Then you need some supply, of course, for phase B. Ideally for phase A, but I decided to go with phase B here because you get more availability, and in lengthy battle, having availability can become important. Then I bring an M4A3, and this tank actually has a range of 1.2 kilometer. This is a good unit against anti-tank gun or potentially a building or whatever. So this is a support unit, support Sherman, let's say. Okay, anti-tank. Early on, I bring the M1 gun 57 millimeter, and there's actually two versions here. You can bring the one with the half track or the one with the Jeep. And at that point, I think having the one with the Jeep might be a better idea because the Jeep is much faster, while the half track is a bit slower, so 80 kilometer an hour on the road, while the Jeep one is 100 kilometer an hour, which means that at the beginning, especially really in the beginning when it start, getting your AT gun at the right position is really important, and before the enemy expect it, let's say. Then I mostly bring anti-tank gun for phase C. Because I'm expecting my phase A gun to perhaps last or not get killed by airstrike. That might be wishful thinking, but at the same time, this is a tank division, so anti-tank gun are useful, but they're not the main weapon. And of course, they can become the main weapon in phase C because then you'll be facing Panthers and you will need some more punch, let's say. So these are useful for phase C. Also, assuming that you're on the defense for phase C, you want these gun in number, and you want guns that will be effective at killing stuff. Okay, here I'm bringing M16 MGMC. This is a unit that is particularly effective at killing planes. If you look at it, it has an insane rate of fire and good HE power. This is a unit which is particularly good when you group them in group of like 3 or 4, and that should be able to kill enemy planes, unlike most anti-air. Then you have here, well, I bring one for phase A and two group of 3 for phase B, and finally a group of a different type here, the M15 CGMC. And this is a unit which will be more about scaring the enemy away, scaring the enemy airplanes. I guess you could go with the Bull instead, but the main difference about this one is that first of all you seem to have a longer range, and in phase C uh, you might fight bombers that have a faster range or faster speed, so it might be a good idea to scare them from afar, and that's why I'm bringing that. Okay, artillery. I'm bringing a 60mm mortar for phase A. This is not a super good mortar, but it fires quickly, and as a result, you can kill a few anti-tank gun, for example. And they're not that expensive. They come with an half track over here, and that's pretty much it. Now I don't have a supply vehicle for phase A, so this is really a unit that you specialize toward either suppressing the infantry or killing anti-tank gun, ideally. Okay, then phase B. Assuming you're pushing forward or you are being stuck on the defensive, having those M4A1 OP are a good idea. So I bring 3 of them potentially. And with these, you can suppress the enemy with artillery, off-map artillery. What's interesting about this is that you can really focus your artillery or synchronize your artillery very effectively at suppressing an entire region. While the other type of artillery that I bring is this one, M7 HMC. This is good for specific target like anti-tank gun or other people artillery. This is a bit of a different use of it's like both type of artillery are really good for a specific reason. So this one, I bring that because in phase B, it's useful to have that artillery to suppress enemy mortar or that kind of stuff. While this one, that will be more for advancing or defending. Uh, and I also bring Calliope for phase B because this can also be very effective at suppressing a region with that which has a lot of infantry or that you know that there is artillery or that kind of stuff, or even anti-air. And I don't have anything for phase C because this is a tank division, so either you're advancing or you're defending, and either way you won't necessarily aim at having superiority for artillery. It's probably better to leave that to other battle group. Uh, it's like sure you could wait and bring all these, but at the same time, German artillery has a longer range, so it's not either you're pushing forward or you're defending, and your tank can hold the artillery fire. So, and finally, Air Force. Well, this is again a very specialized Air Force. You only have access to 3 cards of planes, let's say, and as a result, I decided to really go with the Thunderbolt. So for B phase, you get 2 of them, and C phase you get 6 of them. And the rationale for this is that sure you can get the P38 Lightning for phase A, but from my experience currently this thing never ever kill anything on the first pass, and even on second pass it doesn't work. I'm not sure what this is about, but it's really not effective. That might be balanced, but for now it's not effective. And while this Thunderbolt, this is very effective at suppressing whatever you want. Now, depending what you're playing, having just air to ground stuff might not be adapted, but assuming you have a team with you, this is a potentially effective air force. You could go with Mustang if you want to protect your troops, especially since you have tank, you might be a big target. But considering that Air Force mostly strike anti-tank stuff effectively, uh, it's not necessarily. Well, anyway, it's up to you. It depends what you play. So this is pretty much it for this deck. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the guide where I explain where I show this in action. So I'll see you there.